Well, good morning. Good morning. I'm Dr. Victoria Seals. I have the pleasure of being the president here at Atlanta Technical College. And it's my great honor to welcome you to our campus, to our second annual Community Showcase here at Atlanta Technical College. So thank you. Now, our showcase is designed to highlight our student and college success. Our industry-leading programs, you saw a little bit of that out there in the atrium, and the exciting plans that we have for the future of the college and for the community. So on behalf of the 5,000 students, faculty, and staff members of the Atlanta Technical College community, we're excited that you are here on campus and that we have a wonderful event planned for you that will include a lively panel discussion, a tour of our selected program areas, and lunch, which is why I know most of you are here. So, as you see, as I mentioned about the exhibits in the atrium, we do great work here at Atlanta Technical College. We have the best faculty and staff who work collaboratively to share knowledge and skills. Go ahead, you can do that. These professionals are part of the more than 55-year legacy of the college, and we continue to serve the city of Atlanta and Fulton and Clayton County, so I appreciate all that they do. They don't let me teach anymore, but we do have a great faculty and staff, so thank you for that. You know, our legacy here at the college lives on in the thousands of students who have walked these halls and now have moved on to walk airport runways, construction sites, hospital wards, catering kitchens, salons, barbershops, research labs, and local businesses. And some of those businesses they actually own. And so we are very proud of our students. We focus on student success and excellence. Our goal is to ensure career and economic mobility that can impact individuals and families. Our mission and service align with our vision to transform the lives of our students through technical education. So as our community partners, you all are pivotal to our success and the transformative work that we do here at the college. You know, we work closely with local businesses as well as with local civic and government entities so that our programs keep pace with industry needs. We design our curricula to ensure that our students are ready to work in those high-demand industries. So when our students leave here, it's not about going on to be trained for 3 months. They're ready to go to work right away. And that's, again, why we exist. And so your partnership and your support, they contribute directly to our 99% job placement rate. Yeah, y'all can clap for that. And another number I want you to keep in mind is that we have more than a $200 million regional economic impact. $200 million. And so our impact is a direct reflection of our students' success and their ability to contribute to the local economy, as well as the sustainability of the businesses that we serve. So we are making significant inroads, and we use this process and the progress of it to energize us to change the game and to level the playing field. We challenge ourselves to expand our vision and to set our goals high. Every day we change the game. We adapt, we create, and we innovate. And as we do, we transform lives through the power of technical education for generations to come. We change their circumstances, we redirect their futures. And in the words of Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. So today, as I stand here in this room with some of our community partners, our legislative delegation, and distinguished guests, I'm looking forward to highlighting our campus and to sharing new plans for the expansion of our Henry Louis Hank Aaron Academic Complex, which you will see during the tour today. Now, designed in 1964, it's like the third oldest building in our system. Designed in 1964. The facility at the time was a model for the state-of-the-art technical education complex. Now, while this building has been well maintained and areas have been remodeled and renovated over the years, it is insufficient in size, efficiency, and configuration. So our current plans for renovation and expansion are critical to improve student recruitment, student retention, and graduation through the redesign of our one-stop student service model. Now, inside this proposed two-story location, students will receive assistance with admissions, registration, academic advising, student accounts, financial aid, career coaching, time management, and financial literacy. So basically, everything is going to happen in that space, which is why we really desperately need it. And it will also house an expanded bookstore, a student lounge, clothing and toiletry closet, and our student success staff, and our Veterans Center. So the Center for Film and Media Production and Technology, as proposed, will be housed adjacent to the One Stop. And so expanding the current footprint of the academic complex will include the center, will allow for additional labs and technology spaces, increasing our course offerings and additional industry partnerships. The conference meeting spaces, as well as industry professionals, will be available to the public. So what you're seeing here is that for that center, we will be able to more than triple the number of individuals we're training for the film industry. You know, we're great partners right now with the Georgia Film Academy, but with this expansion, we can provide that opportunity and those careers to so many more students. And so again, that's why we're here, why we need your support, and we're looking forward to you helping to advocate for us. And so again, the renovation and expansion of the Henry Louis Hank Aaron Academic Complex will afford the students south of I-20 with an up-to-date, effective facility in which they can thrive. So supporting the expansion and the renovation is an opportunity for our advocates to ensure equitable investments in these communities of color. As you know, Mr. Aaron's legacy is a formidable one that inspires people in our local communities and throughout the country. In this spirit, the Henry Louis Hank Aaron Academic Complex is home to life-changing opportunities for thousands of people who are seeking to get in the game and to succeed. So in the next few weeks, you'll hear more about the academic complex expansion and ways that you can impact the project's success. And so this showcase is a very special event in the life of the college. And so I want to pause and recognize some very special people who are here to support the college as well as the work that we do. We appreciate the members of our legislative delegation, and we recognize the significant impact of technical education in general and of Atlanta Technical College in particular. Equally, our civic leaders are valuable resources as we work together to strengthen the cities in our service area. So we have our elected officials, if you would please stand to be recognized. Thank you. Thank you for your support and your community engagement. And of course, we appreciate our business and community partners whose support is a model of the power of partnership. So our business partners, our local board, foundation board members, if you all would please stand so we can recognize you as well. Thank you. Now, I could go on and on about the numbers because, as I said, I used to be a mathematician. I guess I still am. They just don't let me teach anymore. But a highlight of this year's showcase, which I'm very proud of, is a conversation among our community partners. You know, sometimes they get tired of hearing me say what we need, so I think it's best coming from some additional community partners to help amplify that message. And I'm so happy that Mr. Fred Blankenship, reporter and anchor at WSB-TV, is joining us today. He is the wake-up call for most of Metro Atlanta with the 4 a.m. morning news. So he really needs no introduction. But he is a true friend of mine and a friend of the college, and so showing his support at different college events. He's been our keynote speaker for graduation and so much other support. So thank you so much for being here and for moderating this conversation with our community leaders. Thank you, sir. So on this panel, we have Dr. Maurice Beasley, Superintendent of Clayton County Schools. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Jamal Jesse, Manager of Education and Workforce Development at Georgia Power. Thank you. Mr. Asante Bradford, I apologize, Senior Engagement Manager with the Center of Innovation for Digital Entertainment and Emerging Media for the Georgia Department of Economic Development, the sales, yep, the sales and marketing arm for the state of Georgia. And Mr. Bradford wins the prize for the longest title today. So thank you for being with us. We also have Ms. Kate McCardle, Director of Film Workforce Development with the Georgia Film Academy. And to round out the panel, we have our very own Ms. Caroline Angelo, Executive Vice President for Academic and Student Affairs. So again, thank you for joining us, and as we welcome our panelists and moderators, so we look forward to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Much, my good friend, Dr. Seals. I appreciate you. And I have a rule in life. If Dr. Seals asks me to do anything, the answer is yes, yes, and more yes. As I'm sure many of you prescribe to that same rule too. Now, if you know who I am, that means you get up way too early. But I definitely appreciate it because we're talking about so many great things here. The conversation I had with Dr. Seals that day was about how wonderful this institution is and how more people should know about it. And as we agreed on that, I got to thinking about how we do things differently than we used to. And there's more than just one way to go through life or to tell a story. Now, I tell many stories every single day on Channel 2 Action News, right? And some of them aren't always great, but there are different ways to actually tell things. You could tell but let's say there's a break-in somewhere, and they broke in and they tore apart a window, and they got away with stuff, and there was a mess everywhere. I could say that, or I could say something a little bit different. I can say, broken glass everywhere. And you still get the message. So basically, I'm excited to talk about how we can do things on a path maybe we didn't envision before. It still works out so much better and so many possibilities. I'm excited about this. Oh, by the way, I'm also excited about what Dr. Seals mentioned a short while ago. I wrote down a number here. 99% job placement rate. $200 million local impact. You can clap again. And just hearing our panelists talk about how the synergy is working and how everybody's working with Atlanta Technical College in the programs they have earlier, it was great to hear. So we're gonna hear a lot today, we're gonna learn a lot today, but we're also going to celebrate what this amazing institution has to offer. Are we ready? Okay, now as we start here, Clayton County is the 5th largest school district in this great state of Georgia, serving more than 50,000 amazing students. The district led by Superintendent Dr. Morcease Beasley, you can clap again, has 6 goals that support its commitment to high achievement. Dr. Beasley, tell us a little bit about how Clayton County Schools is working with partners such as Atlanta Technical College to ensure student success, please, after their 12th grade year.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you, President Seals. Good morning to everyone. We're excited to be here to represent Clayton County Public Schools. As you shared, we have over 51,000 students. We graduate over 3,000 a year. Over 3,000 students a year, and that's increasing every year. We're always partnering with Atlanta Tech in particular because if you don't know, we offer career pathways in every high school. And we want every student, it's our expectation that every student entering the 9th grade completes at a minimum one career pathway. So our students understand that there are many options, whether at this local high school or here at Atlanta Tech, and many other schools in the area as well. We want our students to understand that there are many pathways. to success. Atlanta Tech really does a phenomenal job at sharing the new programs. With every brochure, an income amount, potential income amount comes with the brochure. We send that out to our community.
Yeah.
Because if you know anything about Clayton, it has to be more, people say, well, you're improving the school system. I said the improving of the school system goes hand in hand with the improving of the entire community. You cannot separate the two. So it's our expectation that our students take advantage of the opportunities, but also our families. We have many students who've already graduated who could benefit from these programs.
So true.
So the programs here provide us an opportunity to really connect our students to their purpose, to those next steps in their lives, so that they can improve their individual financial outcomes and their family financial outcomes.
I love the part where you said, not only do you point out what you can do, this is also what you can make. Right there, it gives people a real sense of this could be me. And by the way, Dr. Beasley is one of my favorite sound bites to have on Channel 2 Action News this morning because he brings energy through the screen. But you all know that already. Right now, thank you for your answer, sir. Shining the light right now on workforce development, I want to ask Mr. Jamal Jesse with Georgia Power what he feels is the most important aspect of creating a ready workforce and ensuring students and professionals can connect opportunities, especially in the wake of the challenged economic forecast and the threatening recession. We're all talking about inflation right now. We all know that everybody's kind of tightening up. What do you say, sir?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Fred, and thank you, Dr. Seals, for having me today. It starts right here with partnerships. I think in years past, we've been guilty of working in silos. You'd have your K through 12, you'd have your post-secondary, and you have your business and industry. Well, now we realize that with this workforce demand, that we have to collaborate. We have to work together as one to make sure that we are working with students from the K through 12 through the post-secondary to the business industry to ensure that they are skilled and equipped to meet the demands of the jobs that's coming to Georgia. Georgia's leading the country right now in economic development, and it is imperative that we have a workforce that's skilled and developed to take those jobs so we can attract more economic development to Georgia. But I'll share one thing that we're doing at Georgia Power to help students with learning about workforce and opportunities. And I took this from some educators, so you may have heard this before, but you guys have the 3 E's, enroll, enlist, and employ. So I turned it into the educate, engage, and employ. And what we do is we help young people learn about these careers. You just can't go to a school and tell someone that, hey, I'm an electrician and I do this and you should be an electrician. No, you have to create content that engage them, short videos. We have a website that's very geared towards young people that talks about how do you get into this job? How do you learn about it? What skills do you need? And it reaches them at their level. So the education piece is very important that as we're trying to attract these new students to our workforce, that we meeting them where they are, leveraging technology, AR, VR, connecting with them at their level, engaging with them. How do you bring them out to your facility and let them see the work that you do? Not just talk about it, but come pick up this wrench, come climb up this pole, come see what it's like to do this kind of work and see if it fits for you. And then the last part is employ them. We cannot expect students to show up to our locations if we're not gonna pay them for internships. So we have to pay students for internships. You have to expose them to those opportunities. So paid internships, yes. You have to expose them to those opportunities. And that's how you really grow and develop your workforce, and you have retention by doing that. So by utilizing those 3 E's that I learned from the educators, I think that's a great way to grow our workforce across the state of Georgia.
Paid internships.
That's right.
Paid internships. But I think I was overhearing a conversation about how there was a former intern who's now in the line class now, and
So full circle moment, I was talking with Dr. Beasley here, and as we talk about the educate, engage, and employ, a young man from Jonesboro High School saw a video that we created about our line workers. And the counselor showed him that video, and he said, I want to give this a try. So he applied to our website for our summer internship program. He was selected. He went through 8 weeks of training at Georgia Power, learning about what our line workers do to see if he really enjoyed the industry. And now he's a student here at Atlanta Technical College, where he's actually doing a pre-apprenticeship program to become a line worker at Georgia Power. So it is it's just a great testament to that the process works when we all engage and we collectively bring everybody together, the students, educators, and business industry.
Full circle moment. Thank you very much. Now, I'm going to go in order here. Mr. Asante Bradford, please, who is on the front line and keeping Georgia in the minds of production and digital media companies from around the globe. And is not only paving the way to recruit and grow businesses that support the multi-billion-dollar entertainment industry, but you also connect the dots to source talent and resources to create this dynamic workforce to ensure the industry thrives for years to come. If you can, please tell us about the need for highly skilled individuals in this industry and how ATC is able to be part of that solution to keep Georgia at the forefront of our industry leaders.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Very excited to be here and to talk about what we're doing. So to answer some of those questions, I think a big part of what we're doing, I was really excited to hear about that 99% placement rate because I think we have a pretty big part in that. And most of that, and not just us, but that would also be you guys because that tax credit is actually paid for all of us. That has actually helped grow this industry, especially from the start. It was literally crickets I've been on 15 years now. I'm still amazed by what's happening here. It's just amazing. So again, we had a record year with the tax credit, I think $4.4 billion. So that's us. So let's understand that we are all a part of this growing and that wasn't pretty in the beginning, but now it's very well and doing great. So I work in what's called digital entertainment industry, and that is a lot of video game companies, animation companies. You mentioned 3D, VR, AR. So my role is really to make sure that the state is ahead of the curve. So one of the things, I'm always looking at what's next, what's new, what's coming, and to make sure that the state can turn our ship quick enough to make sure that we're part of that. So in gaming, one of the things we did was esports, which now has become really big for the state. And then now what's really interesting since COVID, I've been telling folks for years, you guys are all coming my way eventually with digital, and COVID literally made that happen. So now even on the music side of things, now music technology, streaming music, and all of those things are now a big part of music. The film industry, I'm not sure if you guys have virtual entertainment, but what happened because of COVID, if you watch the show Mandalorian or watch the making of The Mandalorian, now they're doing what's called LED virtual stages. So now literally they have taken away the background sets, construction and all of that and have lowered the cost. So what's really great about this new industry is you have gaming technology and film technology coming together. And just to put it out in the universe, we are going to own that space right now because we have the talent now with the developers that's happening on the game side. We have over 150 game companies here now in Georgia. All of our schools have taken up, and I definitely want to give kudos to our schools, and I'm gonna get to ATC in a sec. But our schools have done an amazing job of bringing us new talent and getting them up to speed. So virtual entertainment is something we're looking at, and then all of this. So literally with ATC, I've been obviously for a few years talking, but obviously I got away a little bit with COVID, but I'm really excited to get more involved and see how we can help with that as well. So yeah, hopefully that's one of my goals.
Now, please applaud, please. That's a lot. And we've done a lot of stories on the esports competition that have come to Georgia as well. But if you didn't catch the gist of it, Asante said basically you will end up at his door at some point. Because that's where the future is going. And in fact, the future is now.
And your kids, for sure.
For sure. I've heard kids like video games.
Yeah, a little bit.
Next, we have the amazing Kate McCardle, who knows a ton about how the film industry has transformed our economic landscape across the state here. We all love a great Marvel movie. I believe a few have been filmed here in our great state, or a blockbuster action flick, but we don't know about the amount of talent that fuels the productions. And I was talking to Kate a little while ago, and she was kind of giving me a rundown of kind of who she deals with and who she places and where they come from. And it's pretty amazing. The Georgia Film Academy supports a collaboration of institutions of the University System of Georgia, Technical College System of Georgia, and more who are preparing the next generation of professionals, maybe behind the camera, not just in front, Kate, please share your thoughts on how transformative this industry has become here in Georgia, if you can, and how ATC is opening new doors for our amazing students.
Great. Good morning, everybody. Hi, it's nice to see everybody, and thank you for inviting me. The Georgia Film Academy, when we first started as a kind of a creation of the former governor who said, look, all these shows are coming here to shoot, and not enough Georgians are trained in the below-the-line crafts. So does everybody understand what below-the-line crafts are here, pretty much? So there's above the line, which are the creative talent, like the content producers, the writers, the producers, the directors, and then there's the real people who make the movies, right? The people who get on set and make everything happen. And generally, those are called the below-the-line crafts. Those are the people who do the gripping, the rigging, the lighting, the electric, the set construction, the scenic painting, the art department, the costume department. All of those people are in the below-the-line crafts. And there was a big need here because productions were coming and saying, wait a minute, nobody knows how to do all of these things, and we're going to give a tax incentive to them and not employ Georgians. So my boss at the time, Jeff Stepikoff, was tasked with creating the GFA, and we set about to create curriculum that would train people in these below-the-line crafts. And we successfully created initially an 18-unit production certification track so students could learn about set construction, scenic painting, lighting, special makeup effects, and so on. And we reached out to partner institutions because we are a part of the university system of Georgia, so we're not a standalone school like ATC is. So we definitely needed Atlanta Tech as a partner institution to provide us with students who wanted to do this hands-on training. This partnership has been amazing. I was saying a little bit earlier on, we've grown from having 3 partner institutions to 29 partner institutions. And the task, the mandate really was to take good care of the state's dollars. In other words, we were given an appropriation to create the Georgia Film Academy. We wanted to serve as many Georgians as possible. So we wanted to provide training for as many citizens as possible. But Atlanta Tech was one of our first partner institutions that provided students who were not only jumping in and getting trained in all these crafts, but going to work on shows. So my job as the director of film workforce development is to work with all the studios and all the networks and all the production companies to find training opportunities, internships on their movies. And after 6.5 years, we have a partnership with almost every major studio in town, and we provide on-set training opportunities for the students from Atlanta Tech to come into my program and to be on a Marvel Disney movie, to be on an NBC Universal movie, to be on a Paramount. We've had students on Infinity Wars, on Black Panther, on Ant-Man, on Stranger Things, on Walking Dead. Any major show that you can think of that shoots here in Georgia, they better provide a training opportunity for our students who are learning the crafts. So once they're on a show, they only have to work 20 hands-on days to do their internship. But usually what happens is if you're any good and you're working in a department and you've impressed somebody, I get the phone call from the best boy or the gaffer or whomever's in charge of the department saying, we love this person, we want to hire them, we want to bring them out of their internship into a job, and we will support their joining the union, because the union, the local IATSE 479, governs a lot of those jobs. So the point is this: it's a great partnership. The students who come through ATC are just so dedicated to going to work. And we have lots of different students now, some of whom are in 4-year institutions who aren't necessarily immediately committed to getting jobs. So my students who come from ATC are like, I'm getting a job. And when you get a job on a set and you go to work as a PA, because those are the entry-level positions, you can make as a day player, meaning you get hired on for a day or two here or there. You can make $250 a day. You can make $1,000 plus a week. If you get into the union, you're going to be making somewhere around $25 or $27 an hour. And if you work regularly, an average salary is somewhere around $85,000 a year. So it's a very nice, respectable salary for a very exciting business. And we need dedicated workers and students. And that's been amazing that ATC has delivered those kinds of students to us. So that's who we are and that's what we do.
I was just watching the end of a movie with my daughter, and you get to all the credits, right? And she's like, well, who are all those people? And I said, what are all those names? And I said, those are the people who make the movie.
Correct.
And so I'm so glad you said that, because we just had that conversation this week. And I said, each of those names is important right there. So thank you very much. Next, as a news anchor throughout the pandemic, I and my colleagues, we heard countless stories about many challenges that confronted our supply chain workforce. In fact, that's the backdrop of the past couple of years, supply chain issues, it seems to be at least. But at Atlanta Technical College, you are really keeping the ball rolling here. You develop creative ways to ensure that students could obtain critical education skills and training required to keep our supply chain moving and our economy thriving by preparing those heroes who have had supported various organizations in healthcare, technology, logistics, and more. Ms. Carolyn Angelo, please tell us, please, how ATC has continued preparing, we call them heroes,
Heroes.
right?
Yes.
And from those critical fields, while also tapping into the emerging industries such as film, television, and production that are booming here in Georgia. It all kind of comes together, doesn't it?
It does. It does. So thank you everyone for being here. We love showing off our school. So take the tour. You're going to love it. It's a wonderful place. But yeah, so during the pandemic, just like everywhere else, we kind of shut down on March 13th. We had about 2 weeks to panic. We had about 2 weeks to figure out what we were going to do. But luckily, we have an innovative, a high-quality faculty that started coming up with ways that we could train our students. Because just as everyone has said, our students are essential. Our students are the ones that are making the supply chain work and making things happen. So, we did we came back. We only had about 2 weeks, came back. We increased the number of classes and made class sizes smaller so we could get the same number of students and even more students in so we could keep training them. We had to do creative things like, when you think about college laboratories, you think about, I went to chemistry lab in college. But if you think about what we do, everything we do, our students are hands-on. So you can't really do that at home by yourself. So we had to figure out how to keep going, because if we didn't keep going and we didn't keep graduating students, then really the whole world was going to stop. So we had to do things. So you think about it. So our truck driving program, we got plastic sheetings to separate the student from the teacher. We had plastic sheeting on the seats. We'd take one student out at a time. We had in dental hygiene, we had plexiglass. You still had to clean teeth, but it had to be someone in your family. Just bring them in. For culinary, they would come by and pick up a box of food and then go home and film themselves doing it and send it into their professor and get graded. Cosmetology, they would take their mannequin head, take it home, do what they were doing on film. Everybody has a camera they can set up. We checked out laptops and Wi-Fi devices and cameras to students to pick up and do things. And they kept sending in their videos, they're getting grades, really continuing to do everything. One of the cool things, and you reminded me of this, our carpentry program and our film program partnered with our sister college in Germany. So we have this sister college in Germany, and every 2 years, we do an exchange program with them. Well, we couldn't do it during the pandemic. So what we did instead was our carpentry program identified a typical American piece of architecture. I think we used a little building here on campus. And then our design and media students came in, filming it, kind of doing the virtual reality, going around. Our graphic design students knew how to make it so that you could click on something and it would take you through the door. So our carpentry students identified the different pieces of a typical American structure. Our film students filmed it. Our graphic design students put it on the web, and then it was put on a huge website with German technical college students doing the same thing. Students from France, students from Chile, students from Japan, students from Thailand. So then we have this wonderful project. We didn't get to go to Germany that year, but we got to learn from all of these different places and the carpentry students, teaching them how to work together. And then one other thing that you actually just made me think of, and when we talk about all of the different majors that we have that feed into the film industry and how we kept them going. We have our electricians and carpentry. We have design and film and media. We have all of that. But during the pandemic, one of the film companies was filming in one of our buildings. Actually, they were filming in the health building. And, everyone has to be quiet, and there's only a few people around, and the dean is there, and they're filming. And
every film crew has an EMT on their crew. So, we're thinking about actors and actresses and things like this. The EMT comes up and starts hugging people. I went to Atlanta Tech. So, we're not just, the students that you immediately think of, even your EMTs came from Atlanta Tech.
Good. That's a good story. That's a good story.
Have you heard a better sales pitch than that? I mean, she said the world might have stopped. It might have stopped. Oh my goodness. By the way, do you know where she drives in from every day for this job? Where do you come from?
I come from Athens.
Every single day.
It's not that far away.
That is love for the institution.
It is.
I love it. The world would have stopped. And she says she comes in because she loves working with Dr. Seals so much as well. So I love that. If we can get some of the questions now. Dr. Beasley, now, most students just don't know how to get into the film and media industry. I wanted to do my job on the news since I was 12. And I saw a man on TV. He kind of looked like me in my mind. And I said, if he told me that story, I wonder how many other people is he telling the story to? And then my next thought was, well, how do I get inside the box? It was my 12-year-old thought. And I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing. They want to know, how do I get there? Or they may not even realize that some of these incredible and, yes, high-paying roles actually exist, especially behind the scenes. How are you working with ATC and other partners to elevate this narrative as students, as they transition from the classrooms, as Clayton County schools, to their next step in their professional journey?
Well, thanks, Fred. 2 areas we focus on. First, students. Our students do field trips. They do work-based learning. They have opportunities to do job shadowing, career exploration. We even start at the middle school level. Our students are exposed in many ways. Of course, in our district, we have those pathways for film, audio, video technology. Parents, of course, are informed. We have school choice fairs throughout the year for our parents and students to become very informed. But you heard from the Georgia Film Academy. We have a partnership with them. So we want our teachers to be, of course, trained and on the cutting edge of the technology and what's happening in the industry. So we have a partnership with them. And here at Atlanta Tech, our students are exposed very early. They get a chance to come over to the campus. As a matter of fact, this year, 8th graders, they come over to the campus and they experience what the campus has to offer. We will bring them out of the county, bring them right here to Atlanta Tech and say, go have some fun. Go experience, ask questions, engage with those professionals. And our counselors make sure that after they have those experiences, that they know here are the options within the school system. Here are the options through our partners like Atlanta Tech. Take advantage of those opportunities. So you heard Jesse here Jamal mentioned about the young man in the Georgia Power, the lineman program. We've got, Angelo will tell you, we started years ago. We didn't have any students in the lineman program, but now we have a full program with a waiting list. That's exactly what we are seeing happen across the board in Clayton County. Our programs are being designed to basically be aligned to meet the needs of what's happening in the region, in the state. Our teachers are being trained, our students are being exposed, and when there are gaps, I was sharing with Yolanda today, when there are gaps, we identify what those gaps are, we work with our partners to fill in those gaps, whether it be exposure events, we work with the Aerotropolis, we work with the chambers, you name it. This facility here, this campus is critical to us making sure that every student in our district has the opportunity to advance their education, to learn a subject, a pathway that will help them, in my opinion, make some money. They need to make money. Nobody's asking me how cute I am and pretty I am when it's time to pay for something. Families need money. And they need more than currently the median salary of about $46,000, and they don't get a discount when they go buy gas because they come from Clayton County. They don't get a discount when they go buy a car because they say they come from Clayton. None of us get that discount. Nobody asks me, what's your zip code? You get a discount. Our kids need these jobs. $85,000 a year, $65,000 a year, that's where we're trying to go. And that's the message. That's the message. That's the message. And we want our families to understand, and this is important, you all, many of our kids, they have cousins and aunts and uncles who could benefit from these opportunities. So our work, my work, marketing in our district is really, if you can't take advantage of it, share it with a family member. Take advantage of this opportunity. That's exactly how this college helps us get the word out. And I love the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. You know, I'm a mathematician as well, Dr. Seals will tell you. So numbers speak to me. And I use those numbers to speak to our community, to our students, to our teachers and all. Numbers get folk moving, especially when those numbers translate to a higher quality of life, health care, good income, etc. Hope that answers the question.
Boy, did it. The funny thing is I hadn't thought about that. Nobody cares how cute you are when it's time to pay that bill. No. And when I think about that, as you mentioned, as young as 8th grade, having the chance to kind of come here and just ask questions. I mean, that changes the world. Once you see it at that point, you're a different person. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. And we talked about it a little bit before, about the end of the movie, and we see the 1,000 or so names that go forward there. And there really are that many that scroll across the end credits. But I bet a number of students are budding professionals, just don't know how to break into the industry. This question is for both Asante and Kate on this one. How can students connect those dots maybe a little bit easier? And what advice would you have for not only the students, but for the stakeholders involved here and partners to get involved with opening the door just a little bit wider for our amazing students to have their names join those ranks?
You said both of us.
You go.
Go first?
You go.
All right, I'll go.
He's going to do all the heavy lifting, and I'm going to follow.
Got you. I take a different approach probably than a lot of the folks. When I talk to kids and to the students, first question I'm asking them, do they have their own LLC? So in the space that I'm working in, which is digital entertainment, a lot of these kids, especially if they learn coding or learn one of these programs, they can literally go build their own game. They can go build their own app. They can do a lot of this stuff themselves and literally start making money now. So my focus is on that. The great part about that too is you can still get jobs in the industry, but literally these kids, they're so talented. And there's actually a movement happening right now, which is called influencers now. Where a lot of the influencers, like we have actually what's called influencer houses here, right? Or TikTok houses here. So I'm really promoting that a lot with our kids, and hopefully we'll have a few more of those happening. But literally in these houses, people are renting a house and you have 10 or 20 kids in there creating content. So I'm more in the content creation side and creative industries now. Yeah, they're making money now doing. So they have an agency, and literally if you have, McDonald's, like how do I reach a younger crowd? They're going to the influencer agencies because these influencers have millions of followers. And a lot of times what's happening right now, even on movies, if you have a star, a regular actor, and then you have this influencer that got 1 million followers, a lot of times they're choosing these influencers now. So I want us to become the influencer capital of the world. And we will, because we have the talent. So again, I take a little different take, but again, on the job side as well, that just leads, in my mind, to jobs. I tell kids as well, if you're going into an interview with a game company and nothing perfect, but if you have a degree or you have created 3 or 4 games on your own, guess who they're gonna hire? So I'm not about, the degree is great. You gotta have that broad base, but you also have to have that entrepreneurial drive and spirit in any of these industries, because literally in the film industry, you're always looking for your next job. That's right. Right? It's really part-time. The cool thing and my thing is, these are more permanent jobs, which is great. But the gaming industry has built here because of it's all been organic. You'll have 2 or 3 kids in the company, like, hey, you want to start our own company? And we started with 3 game companies. Now we have over 150 game companies. And now what's happening, because we have so many game companies, is now the big whales are EA, or Activision. Like, wait a minute, what's going on? Why? How are they getting all of that? They cannot not be part of that. So what's exciting about what's happening in the film industry now is, you mentioned all the studios. These studios are coming here with training and workforce programs now. You mentioned NBC Universal. NBC Universal is coming strong, and they also need a workforce. So anyway, that's what I would say. I'm just a little different on that, but I also think you have to have that entrepreneurial with the education tie-in. And I think that's what's going to leapfrog our competition.
Yes, I like that answer. I'm all for entrepreneurial, because you do have to be entrepreneurial in order to be in a high demand career like the entertainment arts. The industries are kind of built, maybe not gaming, but the film industry proper is kind of built with a barrier to entry. There's so many people want in that the industry itself is like, no, you don't. No, you're not coming in. So you have to figure out a way to get around the barriers. You have to figure out a way. You have to be educated, you have to have your skills, but you also have to be smart about how you get around the barriers. Clearly, one way is to create your own content. And some young filmmakers do that at a very early age. They're writing, producing, shooting, directing, et cetera, when they are in junior high. I have a friend whose daughter was like in 5th grade, and she was making little movies. I was like, oh my God, I couldn't even get my computer to work when I was in my 30s. So I don't know. But so that's one way. But the other way is to sort of work within the system as we have it. There's $4.4 billion worth of economic activity. There's 400 shows shooting here. You're not going to get a job on a show as a high school student because you're not old enough to really work in a... However, we now have graduate programs. The Georgia Film Academy has partnered with UGA and with Georgia State in master's programs in film. And I don't say that if you're in junior high, you should be in a master's program. What I mean is that there are people making films and doing projects that are not necessarily the mainstream Hollywood movies, where you can go and work on those projects. You can volunteer as a high school student to work on a graduate program student, to work on another college film. You need to get some traction under your belt, and you need to start meeting people, because it's the kind of industry. Well, let me back up a second. A lot of people in Georgia go, well, wait a minute, Tyler Perry Studios is there and Eagle Rock is there, and why can't I go ring the doorbell and get a job? Why doesn't Tyler Perry hire me? Why doesn't the studio hire me? He's in the community, right? What people don't understand is that the jobs at the studio itself generally tend to be facilities management, grounds management. There's a lot of labor jobs. There's a lot of admin jobs, but those are not the jobs on the movie set. Right? To get on the movie set, you have to be hired by the producer. To get hired by the producer, you have to start working your way into knowing people that are working in the business. So as early as high school and junior high, if you want to volunteer to work on a college film, if you want to volunteer to work on a master's film, that kind of stuff, do as you're learning. I advise students to do that.
So kind of old school being...
Correct. Because you only get hired by someone. This is how it works. I need a PA in the office, and I turn to my friends and I say, do you know anybody that's available to work? And they recommend somebody. Generally, they're not putting an ad in the paper saying, we're looking for a production office assistant. So you have to start making those relationships early. And then, from there, you will get to the age where you are employable on a set.
And real quick, before, you may have mentioned this before, but coming out of high school and getting on there, and let's say you get your first job, what can you make?
Well, that's what I was saying before. So if it's a day player, like you're just getting hired for a day or two to work on a production, you maybe make $225 a day, something like that. If you're so every entry-level job is pretty much a production assistant, and no matter what department you're in, you could make $1,000 to $1,200 on a set, on a movie set, as a week as a PA, depending upon your department. And then as you move up the food chain, especially if you join the union, entry-level salaries for a lot of those people in the grip and electric departments, like $27 an hour, something like that. So you can make a nice living, much above federal minimum wage, for sure.
And there you go. Ms. Angelo here, we talked a little bit about, yes, ATC has saved the world. Mm-hmm. But I want to know...
And continues to.
I want to know more about this. Atlanta Technical College and Dr. Victoria Seals is that what we learned so far is the ATC has many strong partnerships that are paving the way for our amazing students here, right? But talk to us now about how you are all changing the game and leveling the playing field by staying on the cutting edge, because you had to kind of reinvent the game during COVID. So what's happening now?
So one of the really cool things that's happening here, that we are one of the first technical colleges to do some of these things, and the very first technical college to have an apprenticeship in a healthcare field. So what we're doing is we're finding opportunities for our students to partner with business and industry and start working. So kind of that earn while you learn. But we trained 120 CNAs for Grady Hospital to become patient care technicians, which is another skill level, another salary level. We're building goodwill within the company. That they're more likely to stay. They're learning as they go. We have 14 apprentices with Anthem Insurance, which is now called Elevance. I think I said it right. But they're in cybersecurity, which is a hot field. They're in programming. They're in network specialists. They actually get to pick which field they're in, come to school with us, and also have good paying jobs, health insurance, everything. We have 7 different fire departments send us their new recruits. So they're full-time employees of the local fire departments. They come here, we train them to be EMT, AEMT, emergency medical technician, paramedicine, and they go to work. There's one, and I wrote it down because I didn't want to leave any out. So we have the Bronze Lens Film Festival. It's a nonprofit. It's dedicated to bringing national and worldwide attention to Atlanta as a center for film and film production for people of color. Here's the cool thing. They're giving scholarships to HBCUs. So the schools that if you attend, you can apply for these scholarships. Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, FAMU, Howard, Spelman, and Atlanta Tech.
Yay, very good.
So we're doing everything we can to get students out in the workforce as quickly as possible. Get them, have them make those networking connections, earn while they learn. Another one that we have is with Nissan. Nissan reached out to us. They're in Nashville, Tennessee. They reached out to us because they wanted to have a presence here in Atlanta. They sent us a whole bunch of cars. When you see our automotive lab, we have all these brand new Nissans and Infinitis. Our students have access now to the Nissan Academy. They're doing apprenticeships at dealerships all around Atlanta and earning their credential with us.
Very cool. Very cool.
All that sounds amazing. We just had a story today on the news about how hospitals, unfortunately, are the target of cyber attacks. And there aren't enough cybersecurity experts to hire right now to ward those off. So to give you an idea of what you're doing, how important that it is. And I mean, it just sounds amazing.
It's one of our most popular and fastest growing programs too. Students are interested in it.
They are, but I'm not gonna lie. I think you make everything sound amazing.
It is amazing.
One of the most important partnerships is with Georgia Power, of course. Mr. Jesse here, please elaborate, Jamal, if you can, on ways that your partnership with the Atlanta Technical College is working to create that brighter future for so many amazing students and exposing them to dynamic and in-demand career paths.
Thanks, Fred. So as Ms. Angelo very enthusiastically said, she made my life a lot easier when they first told me I had to start a line worker program at Atlanta Tech. I was maybe 3 months young into my role, and they were like, we need a line worker program in Atlanta Tech. And I'm like, okay, how does that look? And working with Ms. Angelo, and I see my buddy Dr. Toppin over there, we had many phone calls and many meetings to kind of get this partnership established. But it has been a great partnership and just a great return on investment, not only in the school as well as the community and our students. We had a serious challenge in our workforce. We had an issue where we didn't really have a workforce in the metro area that could really serve the metro area. So let's just say the lights go out right now. If that person doesn't live in Atlanta, let's say they live in Coweta, that response time may take that much longer for them to get to the headquarters and then get to their truck and then get to your power, to turn your power back on. So obviously customers are our most important concern. So we want to make sure that we are providing programs and training people that they can meet the demands of our customers in our local area. So this partnership with Atlanta Tech was instrumental. And the thing that was really like, when you're in a new role, sometimes you don't know what you don't know. But we really did this in 3 months. And it was, if you tell me now that, hey, Jamal, you got to start a line worker program at Atlanta Tech in 3 months, I say, you're crazy. But I didn't know what I didn't know then. And Ms. Angelo and Dr. Toppins, we put it all together and we started our first line worker program in 2019. Clap. Now we all know, okay, so great, we got our first line worker program, and not a month in, here goes COVID and the pandemic, and I'm freaking out because this is my first big project. And Miss Angela's like, don't worry, Jamal, we're gonna split the class up. We got PPE, we doing this, we doing that. I'm like, okay, Miss Angela, you got it? She's like, yes, we got it. We're gonna get those students qualified, and they did what they pivoted and they did what they had to do, because at Georgia Power, when the storms come, we go to work, and the same thing with the pandemic. We essential workers, so we could not stop. So the partnership was huge for them to continue training our workforce and helping us bring a new workforce. If we had to wait a year for them to start this program, I mean, that it's just, you can't wait that long for your workforce. So it was very beneficial for them to help us develop that workforce in such a short time. And then over those years, we've been having classes come through and students graduate. And it's not just for Georgia Power, it's for the industry. So we support our EMCs as well as our municipalities with their line workers as well. So it has been a huge on take by them to support this huge in-demand industry, but it's been a great partnership, and I can only see it growing more and more as the demand for our line workers. And then you think about the EV market that's really kind of developing, that's electricians, that's auto mechanics that we're gonna upskill and reskill into EV auto workers. So it's a huge in part, and we really need Atlanta Tech to continue to support us in that effort.
I hadn't even thought about. That's one aspect of the industry, the EV market, I hadn't even thought about right there in context.
That's what keeps me up at night, and that's why I don't have any hair.
Well, we learned we can call Miss Angelo, and she'll
gonna figure it out. Yeah.
In 3 months.
Now, I'm learning so much here today. Hopefully we all are too. I do have a final question right here, and each person can answer that in their own time. If you can, tell us how you and your organization are changing the game and leveling the playing field. And it's interesting. If we could start with you, Miss Angela.
So several people have talked about getting into the businesses and things like that. So I think all of us at some point in our lives have been told, oh yeah, you can't get in there unless you know someone. And we've all known those people that got a job somewhere because, oh, my dad plays golf with him, or so-and-so works at that company and my mom knows them and they got us in, and my uncle this or that. So here's what we do for our students. We're who you know. So if you came to Atlanta Technical College, we're the one you know who can get you into that company. We're the dad who works there. We're the one you play golf with. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that we have ins with all the businesses and industries so that when somebody wants to go and work somewhere, we say, we know how to train you. And I guarantee you when they're looking at resumes, they're going to say, oh, you went to Atlanta Tech. All right, come on in. That's our goal.
Good. Oh, gosh. Well, I think, I was like, what's the question again? So access, which is what we're talking about, right? How do people get access? So continuing education programs are hugely important. And we have a partnership with Atlanta Tech through the Con Ed division, which means as a community member, you don't have to have a college degree. You don't have to have studied anything about film at all. You just have to have a passion and an interest to be able to register for the classes and then end up working on a movie set or on a television show or at a gaming company. So I think it's continuing to support continuing education in addition to degree programs that allows for people who ordinarily wouldn't think of themselves as being the right candidate for working in the film business to give them access. So I think that's how we will continue to do that.
That's a tough question, but okay, I would say for myself, working in creative industries right now and to make sure that we are a player in that, and as it continues to grow, You got a lot of stuff coming up right now that I want to make sure that the state, we can turn our ship and be ready for. One of the things I'm very passionate about, because I know how it changed my life, was coding. Because I think coding goes across the board and not just tech, but also entertainment. I actually was into animation, did 3D animation from coding, and then you can do gaming from coding. You mentioned the end of a movie when the credits are going, and specifically Black Panther. And if you remember it, it was almost 5 minutes of special effects companies going through that. So post-production is a big part that I don't think a lot of us play. You guys are doing a great part in that part, but I think post-production and the end of that movie is a lot of opportunity in that space. So that would be my goal, is to make sure that we get more coding projects happening. I mentioned in the film industry now, gaming tech, which is the Unreal Game Engine and Unity Game Engine now are being used to tie in with film right now. That's my goal. I want us to be a leader in that space and make sure that when they mention that, the creative industries, that Georgia is mentioned.
So one takeaway I want everyone to have is workforce development is a capital investment. Yes, it costs money. Two things that we're doing. One is our Georgia Power Foundation is going to award $1 million in workforce development grants to our CTAE and college and career academies across the state.
Good. That's good.
The great thing about that is that's going to help young students learn about skilled trades as well as in-demand careers that we have here at the Technical College. So it's going to be a feeder pool for schools like Atlanta Technical College. The other thing we're doing is in wake of George Floyd and social injustice, we have a program at Georgia Power called Moving to Equity. And one of our pillars is education equity. So we've selected 4 school districts across the state of Georgia, Dr. Beasley being one of them, that we will award $3 million annually to support K-12 workforce development, as well as reskilling and upskilling the workforce for their students in Clayton County.
Say that one more time, please. One more time.
One more time. Okay, so again, annual $3 million to those 4 school districts to support K-12 education, workforce development, and reskilling and upskilling their workforce.
Great.
On that note, sir.
Well, listen, in addition to that, our students are reflected in every industry you see here in Clayton County. That wasn't the case 5 years ago. We're giving you a good problem. If you have low-paying jobs, Clayton County kids will not be applying. I just want you all to know, and I'm very honest about that, always have been. Our commitment, how we're changing the game, is ensuring that our children are connected to all of these resources. And if we have to get a school bus, and I have plenty of them, to pick them up and bring them over here, that's exactly what we will do, period. So we are changing the game. You may not see it in the 2020 census data. I'll be retired in 2030. But in 2030, I want you to look at Clayton County's data, and I promise you it will be a lot different, a lot better, because we are changing the game for our 52,000 children in Clayton County. In addition to coding in every elementary school, how many districts our size, urban districts, have coding occurring in every elementary school, computer science in every elementary school? That's the work we're doing in Clayton County. I already mentioned pathways in every high school. I already mentioned every kid is expected to complete minimally one pathway. 52% of our 9th graders are in advanced placement. Please find a district anywhere that can tell you that. That's how we're changing the game for our children, for our community in Clayton County.
Yay.
I want to thank our incredible panelists for being here today, for blessing us with so much wisdom about the relationship with ATC and what's being done, about how we are the golf buddies. We are the people you know. We are your connections. About how to get into certain fields, about how to have that entrepreneurial spirit, about Clayton County students will not be applying for low-income jobs. I mean, and it's done through relationships. So I want you to know that you have inspired me here today. I'm so proud of what's going on here today. I'm so proud to call you my friend. And I'm so proud to be a support system for this beautiful institution that is Atlanta Technical College. All right? So thank you so much for having us here today. To the awesome staff, please give. Oh, that was nice. Let's try it again. To the amazing staff. And the dynamic stakeholders and partners who continue to ensure these students continue to soar. I say thank you so much, and thank you for allowing us to be a part of your day. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, great.
My name is Shannon George Sink. I'm the Vice President of Institutional Advancement here at Atlanta Technical College. And you've heard this morning some of the really compelling work that's taking place on our campus. You've heard about the dedication, the enthusiasm that I swear Miss Angelo powers the campus, and the innovation that's happening every day with our students. And this work isn't just exciting and it's not just innovative, it's truly essential to Atlanta and to our workforce development. What we heard today was about these careers and the amount of money that our students can earn. And why that is so important to talk about is because the average household income in our zip code hovers right around $20,000. So when you talk about an $85,000 entry-level job, you're changing the game, not just for the student down the hall, but you're changing the game for the family. You're changing the game for the footprint that we serve, and that's so important to talk about. Most of the families in this area are comprised of single families, and they rent their homes. Only 31%, according to the last census, were employed full-time. Atlanta Tech is the connection point to changing that. We are the lifeline for adults who are looking for economic mobility. The campus is providing not only a pathway for education, but we're providing that career preparation that we talk about. And we are the disruptor for generational poverty. That's happening here. We're disrupting that cycle. So we are also providing these resources at an incredible deficit. And that's really what I want to talk to you about as we wrap up today and get ready to go out on our tours. The Technical College of Atlanta Technical College is receiving far less funding on average than our other schools in the system. The campus has been an excellent steward of the resources it's been given. And when you walk around today, you'll see that stewardship. But what is happening is we're having to build these partnerships with companies to make up for that deficit, right? And we are so grateful for Georgia Power, for Atlanta Gaslight, for Truist, for so many companies who are sitting in this room, because without them, we would be at an even bigger deficit. Recently, the Atlanta Technical College asked for some funding for a new Center for Transportation and Logistics. The state gave us $3.2 million. We are raising the additional $12 million that we need to complete the $15 million project, which includes not only the capital resources, it includes the technology, and it includes scholarships to make sure that that necessary pathway is free and not cost prohibitive to our students. Our sister college in the system asked for the same project. They received $60 million in funding from the state. 60 million, 3.2 million. And that kind of inequity has been happening at the state level for 10 years. We need you to be our advocates. We need you to join with us in the conversation. I'll talk to you when we're done. We can talk about that system and who received that money. But it's an inequity that's got to stop, and that's why we wanted you on this campus today, so that we could show you, we can walk you around, and we can talk to you about how much we need your partnership, we need your advocacy, and we need you to just be with us in this conversation, because the community that we serve deserves a state-of-the-art building. Their high school should not look better than their community college, right? It should not look better than their next step forward in their career path. It should be exciting, it should be innovative, and they deserve access to all those tools. With your partnership, we know we're going to make that happen. So thank you for sitting with our panel today and for learning more about what we're doing here. I can't wait to walk you around campus. We have 2 tour groups that are able to take you around. If you've got some time, we invite you to join us. So I'm going to get you kind of located. Mr. Gale and Jaleesa Marks are going to be here in the corner. Mr. Gale is our early childhood education instructor, and Jaleesa Marks is our adult Eagle winner, student of the year. So they will be back in this corner to take a tour out this way. Our second tour group is going to be led by Dr. McCoy Wilson, who's right over here on the other side. And she'll be joined with Robert Leach, the Dean of our Business and Public Service Technologies. So if you'd like to join their tour, we'll all be going to the same spots on the tour. We'll be looking at our current Design and Media Center. So I really want you to take a look at everything we're doing in a really small space. Again, most of our other institutions are doing all this same training in double the space. So I can't wait for you to walk around and see the amazing things we're doing. We've also got a grab and go lunch for you to take when you're done. So thank you so much for your time. Please pick a tour group, either left side of the room, right side of the room. And we are here and available to answer any questions that you might have. But thank you so much for your support today.